I'm running against Senator Buck Newton, who was just at a Trump rally this week, embracing Trump and saying, he actually said, if I could find a law that Hillary Clinton violated, I would lock her up, or I would do just that to chance of lock her up. That isn't how law enforcement works. You don't target a person and then say, I'm gonna go find a crime to put that person in jail. We don't need ideologues at any level of government, whether it's in the governor's mansion, the White House, or in the office of Attorney General. We have a legislature that's focused on extreme social legislation, even when it's at the expense of the people. And we've seen that with anti-voting laws, with HB2. And I think voters are fed up with it. They want a government that does the job of government, which is creating an environment, an opportunity for people to have good, happy, successful lives. And this state government here in North Carolina has gotten us way off track, and I think there's a real strong appetite to bring things back, moving in a forward direction.
Well, you mentioned HB2 and also the voting restrictions. Let's start with the voting restrictions. House Bill 589, you were in the state Senate fighting against it when it was first introduced, right on the heels of the Supreme Court basically gutting the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Now the Supreme Court has spoken again, and tell us about that.
Very exciting development. In 2013, when this bill came up, I stood up and, to the best of my abilities, I argued how this was wrong. It was unconstitutional in a number of different ways. It targeted young people, it targeted African American people, and it tried to make it harder for them to vote in a host of ways. And what the Fourth Circuit did about a month ago was they concluded that there was explicit evidence that the legislature acted with discriminatory intent against African Americans.
Part 25 provides that early voting, instead of starting on the third Thursday before the election, will start on the second Thursday.
Part 42 would raise the contribution limit from $4,000 to $5,000. Part 44 would repeal the stand by your ad disclosure requirements.
I just wanted to know why we are eliminating an effort to try to help people get registered to vote. People engage the state when they get a driver's license, and that is a logical time for them to register. There's no allegations of people voting before they're 18. I'm just wondering why we are not helping people to participate in the democratic process. She's wanting to know why we're...
Mic's on.
My son turned 18 January 30th, missed this last ballot, went through the school process and was pre-registered, and it was very confusing as to when he was supposed to do that. What this does is offer some clarity as to when that child is eligible to vote and registers to vote, and that's what it's designed to do.
Follow up.
Did your son not know he was 17 on election day?
The fewer young people and minorities who vote, the better, it seems, in your minds. We get it. No one is being fooled.
It wasn't only that the changes had the effect of hurting African Americans, but the legislature actually, with laser-like precision, went after African Americans. And if you look at who does same-day registration, disproportionately African American for sure, and disproportionately younger. And part of that is because they're more transient. Both of those communities are more transient than, and so the people who need to register, they're not always just young people, although a lot of the young people who are in college, they're registering for the first time, so they've never done it before. But other time, people are moving, and when you move, you need to re-register in your new address. And so this is a way for anyone who is eligible and entitled to vote to have that opportunity. That's what democracy should be about.
Did the court talk about lawmaking that generates long lines at the polls in the urban centers as a form of voter suppression?
The court, well, they didn't take up the straight ticket voting. That wasn't a claim to be made. But surely on the reduction of early voting, they talked about particularly losing one of the Sundays that would have been available for early voting, since a lot of folks, disproportionately African American, take advantage of voting on Sunday. You know, a lot of people work, and so you want to have Saturday and Sunday opportunities for people to vote. And they did talk about the fact that you were compressing people into an election day where, frankly, we haven't increased the number of precincts in our urban counties for the last 20 years because we haven't needed to, because we've had the escape valve of early voting. But if you get rid of that escape valve of early voting, or you shrink it, then you push everybody to election day and there aren't enough precincts. And that's where you get the 3 or 4 hour lines on election day.
You all are substituting your judgment for that of the people, and that is a convenience you should not deny the people of North Carolina. I asked Senator Rucho, what analysis have you all done to analyze the impact on election administration by the combination of eliminating straight ticket and shortening election period, early vote? None. None. And when there are long lines that have the effect of deterring participation in the election, y'all own that.
And what we have seen in certain counties is grossly partisan behavior by the local county board of elections, where they had already submitted early voting plans that would create X number of sites, X number of hours under the law before it was struck down. Now they have to create new plans over 17 days as to what they've done by 10 days. And many counties, more than 20, I think it's 36, have issues going before the State Board of Elections, have actually reduced, and some of them, like Watauga County, where Appalachian State University is, and they are absolutely going after college kids. And they're trying to say to young people, we don't want you to have a voice in who is president and governor, who's your attorney general, your legislature. And they are trying to make it hard for young people to vote, and it is unconscionable. And if they succeed, if the state board doesn't overturn these plans that have dramatically shrunk the number of hours in some of these counties, it's going to be on the people to make those counties pay. And by that, I mean win at the polls and throw out these guys who are trying to keep young people from participating.
So because the governor is a Republican, each of these 3-person boards has 2 Republicans and 1 Democrat. Okay, and so they, in spite of what the Fourth Circuit federal court has said, they are taking upon themselves to implement the same voting restrictions.
They are 100% violating the spirit of the Fourth Circuit's ruling, which said the reduction in number of days from 17 to 10 was designed to reduce the turnout of African Americans and young people. Now, under 17 days, they're providing dramatically fewer hours and many fewer locations. They took an on-campus location from Appalachian and took it away. So now the students have to go to a very inconvenient county board of election office. And there's only one clear signal here. They don't like young people voting because they don't believe they've got an agenda that appeals to young people. And if they're going to work that hard to keep young people from voting, then it's on them, it's on us, it's on the people in North Carolina to say, I refuse to accept that, and I'm going to kick you out on election day.